Well, hello there, my studio teacher friends. Welcome to the Beyond Measure podcast, your weekly dose of piano teacher solidarity. If we haven't yet met, my name is Christina Whitlock, and I am coming at you this first Monday of 2026 with all kinds of optimistic New Year's energy. For as long as I can remember, I have loved Mondays. I love the possibility of a new week, and I guess that is never more true than the first Monday of a new year. I've had the best kind of holiday break, lots of rest, and lots of projects accomplished. We've enjoyed a lot of family time. We've cleaned out a bunch of closets. It's been the best. And I am here bringing you my most optimistic self today, determined more than ever that we will level up our teaching together this year. You and me, we're already pretty great, but we're going to end 2026 even more effective teachers than we're starting it today. I'm declaring it for both of us. And today, we're starting with a few thoughts about how we teach students to read on the staff. Yep, it's a big one, so we'd better get to it, friends. You are listening to episode 244 of the Beyond Measure podcast. All right, friends, I'm not going to bury the lead here. I'm going to tell you right now that I am launching a new resource for teachers today, and it's called Building Better Music Readers. I'm saying this up front so you don't think I'm trying to swindle you into buying something from me when I mention it later, okay? Now, this is not a sales-driven episode. There's plenty of content here you're going to find useful, whether you purchase Building Better Music Readers or not. So please just bear with me for 1 second while I tell you why I am so excited about this one. I have been promising teachers this content for years, actual years. It's taken me a while to figure out what format I wanted to use to deliver this information, and I'm so excited about where I've landed. I'm going to run a trial group to get started. That's what's launching today, and then we'll see how it goes from there. As it stands, Building Better Music Readers is a 12-week instructional series that will send you a video, a printable resource, and one specific activity to try with your students every Monday morning for 12 weeks. All of these activities are designed to help prepare students to read music on the staff. The beauty of these activities is this. Yes, they are designed for students who are not yet reading on the staff, but most of them are still applicable to students who are. Meaning, you can still try these activities with students who are reading on the staff, and you might even be surprised by who struggles with some seemingly simple requests. Anyway, like I said, this is not a sales episode, but I did want to let you know that I am taking a limited number of teachers on a trial run of this first 12-week journey. It's going to start next Monday, January the 12th, and after that, I will close registration until we make it through the entire 12-week cycle so I can collect feedback and evaluate if it's something I want to continue offering. So, if you are up for being a guinea pig and helping me shape this resource with your feedback, I am offering a steeply discounted pre-sale price of $72 for all 12 weeks of materials. If you happen to be a super friend over on Patreon, you have a coupon code waiting for you over there, so make sure you check that out also. The link to sign up is in today's show notes, or you can head to christinawhitlock.com/readers for all the info. Registration is open now, and it closes again on Sunday, January 11th. All right, enough of that. Let's talk about reading music, shall we? In the world of piano teaching, there are a handful of subjects that get me really stirred up. The first one we'll talk about is the fact that there are teachers among us who can't seem to separate the idea of playing the piano with the idea of reading music. It's like those two skills are inextricably linked. What breaks my heart about this situation is the fact that these teachers often assess their students' musical potential based on their ability to read music in front of them. Now, I'm not throwing stones here because, as always, I've been that teacher. I didn't always know better. I thought my students who read well were my most successful students. End of story. Of course, I do want my students to be good readers. It's a high priority for me as a piano teacher. Being a solid sight reader gives you flexibility in how you can use your skills, and it connects you with an enormous amount of repertoire. You can never be at a loss for something to play if you have good sight reading skills. Plus, let's face it, many times our best readers are really our top performing students. But the thing about this that just crushes my soul is the fact that teaching students how to read music is drastically understudied in our profession. There are far too many of us out there who rely on whatever system our method book uses, and we call it a day. And if a student struggles to learn how to read the staff based on whatever sequence is presented in the method book, we quietly assume that music is not their thing. They're probably never going to get it. It's just not their talent. Ugh, gross word, I know. I've received a lot of transfer students over the years who were in that exact boat. They struggled to learn to read through whatever method series their teacher was using, and they came to me discouraged and desperate. Desperate because they wanted to play the piano, but discouraged because they were thoroughly convinced they were never going to be able to learn that skill. There are two important things to do right away with those kinds of students. First of all, we need to connect them to playing music that they are going to enjoy playing, regardless of how they learn it. It might be improv, it might be pre-reading pieces, it might be chords, it might be rote pieces, it might be composing their own pieces or sounding things out. Somewhere in that list of 6 things is something that they will enjoy doing at the piano. That is priority number 1, because very few students are going to be willing to put up with the nitty-gritty work of learning to read music if they aren't connected with the joy of making music in one way or another. So, job number 1 is to find something they love to play. That search is worth it. Thing number 2, we completely deconstruct the reading process. Here's the thing. The skill of reading notation is full of conflation, multiple concepts that are tied together in ways that we forget because we have been reading music for most of our lives. You've got things like pitch, actual frequencies of sound that get classified with words like high, low, up, down, and also right and left. We have alphabet letters that correspond to piano keys, but also to specific lines and spaces on 2 different staves. We have note heads and note stems that face multiple directions, mind you. We have finger numbers that come in different directions across two different hands. Modern day methods seem to spend a lot of time labeling line notes and space notes. There are interval numbers that don't match up with finger numbers, and let alone all the other numbers, like counting numbers, and chord numbers, measure numbers, like so many numbers, right? When you pull it all apart, the number of concepts at play at any one time is completely overwhelming. Now, of course, strong sight readers know how to filter that information and how to distill it down to what really matters, namely intervallic movement. But that's another topic for another day. What slays me is this. Some students are just wired to assimilate all that information fluidly. We love students like this, but they spoil us a little bit as teachers. It's like when my daughters were young and they were learning to read actual words, as in not music reading, but reading. These kids of mine, they came wired to read. My oldest was reading fluently when she started kindergarten with very little effort on our part. Her younger sister was reading fluently before she entered preschool, and that was definitely with zero effort on our part. She just got it. So aside from reading a lot with them, they were not fluent due to some incredible learning sequence we put them through. They just did it. So I'm 2 for 2 on kids who learn to read fluently at early ages, but I don't get to go around and tell people that I've cracked the code on teaching kids how to read. Those kids did it on their own, which is great for all of us. But it wasn't because of informed teaching on the part of their parents. So I say this in great love for all of us in this profession. But I think there are teachers out there who consider themselves great at teaching students to read music simply because they've had students who can read music well. So if you're in a position where you're like, 2/3 of my studio can read well, and I just don't even know what's going on with the other third, or if you're of the opinion that some students just never get it, I would like to gently challenge you on that one. When students struggle to read, it's possible that there are learning exceptionalities at play, or there's a maturity factor. Like maybe there is something tricky happening in their cognitive process, but it's also entirely possible that they're just having trouble connecting the number of dots they've been asked to connect at the same time. I credit my success in teaching students to read music to the fact that I have settled on a very specific set of exercises that dissect every element of staff notation. It doesn't matter what method series I'm starting them in, because I use a lot of them. We do the same kinds of exercises regardless of their books. Now, I'm not claiming to have invented these exercises. I'm sure I'm not the first person to run them, but I have settled on a specific series of drills and questions that allow students to experience all of the elements that end up getting pulled together when they see staff notation in their method books. And I begin these sequences, laying that foundation for fluid reading at a student's very first lesson. Through their first few weeks with me, students are practicing alphabet fluency. We slowly, sneakily, without any sense of intimidation, start dissecting how note heads move on the staff. We learn what stepping up and down feels like in the fingers before we attach it to letter names or staff notes. We master the topography of the keyboard so there are no lingering questions there. Students go home practicing pre-reading and rote pieces because those offer more opportunities for musical interest and foundational technique. But during the lesson itself, we take a handful of minutes to work ahead so no one is surprised later. If you can't tell, I am rather proud of the fact that I have a reputation in my community for rehabbing struggling readers. I'm always sad to find students in such a discouraged state, but there are few things more satisfying in music teacher life than seeing the tangible results of helping someone realize that they can indeed read music. So, you're a smart audience. You can probably guess that my new resource, Building Better Music Readers, is an overview to all those exercises designed to deconstruct the music reading process. It's worth noting that you could totally come up with your own drills that are similar to mine. You can probably find someone divvying them out on YouTube, and you could build your own sequence that works for you for free. I did not design this resource with delusions that I have cracked some secret code and I have the only answer. But I also know how overwhelming that piecemeal process can be, and how much time, trial, and error it takes to do those things. I have walked many of my teacher consult clients through these sequences, and I know they work. The problem is, when I sit and unload all of these strategies on teachers in a 1-hour consultation appointment, it does often result in information overload. It's just too much to take in during a single hour, and it ends up feeling like a lot of work to implement. That is why I'm really excited about this 12-week format of Building Better Music Readers, because it should, in theory, give teachers an opportunity to focus on one exercise each week. You can spend a few minutes each week practicing these drills with your students. You can find your groove with them, and then you can tuck it into your teacher toolkit and move on to the next exercise the following week. Again, these are drills that you can use with students before they're reading on the staff. That's what they're designed for. But they are also beneficial for those who are already reading notation. If they breeze right through the exercises, great. That is confirmation that they know what you need them to know. But if not, well, you have found a gap in their understanding, and that is important to know too. So friends, here's the non-sales takeaway from today. We never want to leave our students feeling like lesser musicians just because they struggle to read music. Reading music is only one component of being a musician. But since most of us do see it as a high priority skill, we would be wise to give more thought as to how we introduce such an important set of ideas. And here is a hill that I am willing to die on. If you are not preparing your student with introductory exercises for the staff before they encounter it in their method series, and all of a sudden you turn the page and you're both staring down a picture of a gigantic grand staff with 23 notes labeled on it from bottom to top, and your students' eyeballs want to pop out of their head, you are missing important opportunities, friend. If we're not careful, everything about our students' musical experience comes to a halt when the staff is introduced, and that to me is a tragedy. If they're playing music that sounds like music, and then all of a sudden the staff appears and they're relegated to playing C, 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 like that is not our best work, friends. That is not the way to get anyone excited about making music. It's not even a good way to teach students how to read C, but I won't get rolling on that one right now. If you are interested in learning more about my personal approach to preparing students for the staff, I would love for you to check out Building Better Music Readers. I'm providing 12 weeks of exercises and corresponding printables to get all the concepts spinning in the right direction. And if you are not interested in purchasing the resource, I hope I have inspired you today to get more serious about preparing important concepts ahead of time. I know I'm harping on the staff today, but this idea of working ahead towards important concepts is a hallmark of my teaching, and it's something I feel very passionately about. Okay, before I just spin all the way out of control here, let's have a toast, shall we? Studio music teacher friends from all over the world. Wow, I am so grateful for you today. I have learned so much from you over the last 5 years of Beyond Measure, and I am honored to have been part of your learning process too. May we all just take a moment to give ourselves some credit today. Teaching music is a lot. We are tasked with teaching students how to read, how to make music, how to be resilient, how to work, how to perform, how to be patient in the learning process. I mean, it's just so many things. So when we come to the realization that there's room for improvement in an area of our teaching, that is not an attack or something to feel badly about. It's a universal truth for all teachers. We can't know everything about everything. I mean, we come closer than most people, but you know. I meant what I said at the top of this episode. Let's end this new year as better informed teachers than when we started. Are you with me? Cheers to all of us on this teacher journey. Hear, hear. Okay, friends, that is a wrap on episode 244. Check out today's show notes for links to Building Better Music Readers and more. I can't wait to start that journey with some of you. And until next week, we'll say onward and upward we go.